Hey everyone, today we're going to go over to how to finance a home 100%. This is a question I get a lot from first-time home buyers, and we help a lot of them with these programs. So I just wanted to go over all of your options if you are looking at buying your first home or even buying your next home. Some of these programs are not specifically for first-time buyers. So if you are looking to move up or move down and you are short on cash, some of these may be some great options. So let's get started. First of all, my name is Misty Weaver, and I am an agent with Keller Williams in Virginia. Our team covers West Virginia, Maryland, DC, and Virginia. We can help you out if you're in a different area. A lot of these programs are available across the country, so if you need a referral to someone who can help you in your area, you can definitely still give us a call or shoot us an email. Since most of you probably are buying for the first time, I did want to go over briefly the home buying process so you kind of understand how everything works together and the steps you need to do to use these programs to buy your next home. So let's go over that first. So the first step is obtaining a loan pre-approval. And that may seem kind of backwards to you, but we do it that way because of a few things. Number one, realtors are here to help you buy a house. And if you can't buy a house, well, we can't do our job. So you need to know if you can buy a house first. So you need to speak with an officer. They'll collect your income information, your debts, all of that, and let you know if you can buy a house and kind of what your limits are, which is the second thing. Knowing your buying limits helps you avoid disappointment when you fall in love with a home that you can't afford. So if you're limited to $150,000 or $200,000, you don't want to be out there looking at $300,000 homes. The next big thing is that sellers are more likely to accept your offer. So especially if you live in an area in Virginia where it's a seller's market and they're getting multiple offers very quickly, you need to have your pre-approval in place to submit with your offer so that the seller knows you're serious, they know that you can buy the home, and they're way more likely to accept your offer. And then the final thing is really understanding your closing costs and your cash needed. Just because you can buy a home with 100% financing doesn't mean you don't need cash to come to the table. And you need to know how much that is, because if you don't have it, then you will need to use that in your negotiating, asking for help with closing costs and those things. So you really need to know all of the numbers. And if you've never been through this process before, sitting down with a loan officer is the first step to kind of go over everything with you and help you see the big picture of everything that you need. So as you can see, it kind of really sets the tone for finding your first home. So once you have that and you have an agent that you're working with, they're going to sit down with you and go over buyer agency. And essentially there are always, of course, two parties typically in, or more, but at least two parties in a real estate transaction. So you have the seller and you have the buyer. And, when you drive past a home, you see a sign in the yard, and it usually has the real estate agent's face on it and their number and office information and all of that. They are representing the seller. So when you call them, you need to keep that in mind, okay? You want your own agent. So you would have a buyer agent who doesn't represent the seller, because each person representing their client wants to get the best for them. So if you go to the seller's agent, they're trying to get the best for the seller, which means the most amount of money as possible. You want to pay the least amount of money as possible. So you really need your own agent. So they will go over all of that. They're going to go over everything that you need in a home. If you have children, what school district you want to be in, what type of neighborhood, what you need, as far as bedrooms, all of that stuff. And then now, of course, we do the online search. So you're probably already doing that, which is great. But you and your agent are going to narrow things down by doing an online search. And then you might want to drive neighborhoods if you're not familiar with a lot of them. And that will help you, determining, is it a big party area? Are there a lot of kids your kids' age? Are there a lot of retirees? All of these things, crime, all these things you want to look up and kind of know everything before you decide to put an offer on a home. So finally, you're going to narrow everything down. Okay, you found the neighborhood, you found a few homes that meet most of your criteria, and then you're going to go and view them. And when I work with clients, I always let them know that you may actually fall in love with that first home if we have done our job. You don't have to go and see 100 homes or 200 homes, because we are doing our job before that. We're doing the online search. We're looking at the photos. We're looking at the videos. We know the neighborhoods. Most of the time, your agent has been in a lot of the homes. So if they tell you, hey, listen, I know the photos look great, but that home is not what you want, listen to them, because I guarantee if they've been in it, they know if those photos really reflect it or if the layout will really work for you. So if they're doing your job, you may actually, fall in love with that first home and want to make an offer. And if your agent's speaking to you and they're telling you that, and they're telling you need to make an offer, listen to them, especially if you're in a fast moving market, because when you're thinking about it tonight, the person who saw it yesterday was probably thinking about it last night, and you're going to lose out because they're going to make an offer today. So you need to be ready, be prepared, do your homework beforehand. And it's great that we have all these online options now, so use them. Okay, so up next, you found the house that you're in love with. You want to make an offer. Your agent's going to pull up comps, which are basically sales of other homes in the area that kind of compare to your home. So they're going to come up with the best price, but it is going to be up to you what you want to offer. If you're in a fast moving market, you don't want to be, offering a huge amount less. You're going to lose it over and over and over. These are things we see a lot with first time clients because they just don't understand the process, and it gets really frustrating for you. So listen to your agent, really determine what your bottom line is, and be open when you're going into a home. So they're going to submit your offer once you come up with a price. And then they're going to negotiate with the seller's agent and the seller. So typically 3 things will happen. They'll either just say no, they'll come back with a counter offer, usually something in between your offer and their asking price, or they can just accept the contract. So eventually you go through all the negotiations and you guys have signed everything. Now you're going to go into your due diligence period. And all of these things are explained in your contract, and you will discuss them with your agent. So you're going to conduct all of the inspections that you decided upon. And that could be, your regular home inspection, radon, lead paint, if it's an older home, all of these things. It's going to get sent to your loan officer, of course, as well as your closing company. And they're going to start doing all their due diligence on their end. And that includes an appraisal, which will determine if the home is worth what you are offering to pay for it, which is kind of important. And then they're going to do a title search, which basically they're going back and looking at all of the transfers beforehand and making sure that everything was done correctly so that no one can come back and say, hey, that house is actually mine. And then they're going to go through the whole rest of financing approval. So you're going to be doing a lot of paperwork, making sure that they have all your income, all your tax returns, all of those things to make sure that the loan can go through. So any issues that come up, your agent, your loan officer, and your closing company are going to help you work through those. And then, of course, we get to go to closing. So you're going to get insurance for the house. You're going to get all the funds that you need for closing. They will tell you how you need to submit those and what the numbers are. You're going to go there. You're going to sign a ton of paperwork, and then they're going to hand you the keys, and you get to move into your new home. So let's start with the 3 programs that you can use most in Virginia to do 100% financing. The first is USDA 100% loans, and this program is mostly for rural districts. So depending on where you live in Virginia, the home that you're interested in may be eligible for this or not. And I will show you a couple of maps in the areas that we work so you can kind of see where this mostly falls. But it was basically started to help lenders help you if you live in those areas and you have low to moderate income, because most rural areas, that is what you're kind of stuck with. But they help you get into a home that's decent, safe, sanitary, all of that stuff. So the program actually gives them a 90% loan guarantee, which helps banks be a bit more comfortable with extending 100% loan to home buyers again. So let's look at a couple of maps here. So a lot of my team works out in the Winchester area from Leesburg to Winchester. So pretty much all of it is actually eligible. So on the screen, if you can see the yellow areas, like in the Winchester city center over in Leesburg and Ashburn down here, all of those areas, those are the areas that are not eligible, okay? So everywhere else is eligible. So outside of Winchester, 22602, 22603 areas, all the way to the West Virginia line, north and west, Purcellville, and then if we go down a little south, we have Front Royal, all of these areas. Okay, other than Manassas here, once you get past Lee Highway, all of that area is eligible. So any home that you're looking at in there is most likely eligible for this loan. So let's go over kind of what it is. Okay, so you do have to do a few things to qualify for these loan programs. You have to meet the income eligibility, and I'll show you a couple of those limits in a minute. You do have to personally occupy the home as your primary residence. So you cannot use this for a second home or a vacation home or an investment property. You do need to be a U.S. citizen or a non-citizen national or qualified alien, and you need to meet your credit obligations in a timely manner. So depending on the bank, they kind of have different credit ratings needed. But a lot of these guys, I work with a lot of clients and loan officers who will help you get there. If you need to pay down debts and increase your credit score, we can work with you to do that. Okay, and then of course you need to purchase a qualified property, which is one of the properties in the map area. So here are a couple of the loan income limits. These are the areas that I work most. So the Washington, Arlington, Alexandria area in the spots that are available. And that's, Fairfax County, all of those things, Loudoun County, everything. And then Warren County is separated out. The Winchester area is separated out. Shenandoah County. A lot of the other ones are as well. I just haven't included them on here. So if you do live in another county, I can definitely give you those income limits. But you can kind of see here, it goes by how many people are in your household. So 1 person, 2 person, 3, up to 8 plus. And then there are different loan programs in the USDA. So the moderate income guarantee loan are the bottom ones on all of these. And then there are some direct loans for low income and very low income. So if you meet those, then there are different programs for you as well. So what can you use a USDA loan for? So if any home in those map areas, or if you want to do a new construction home, you can also do that as well. So you can do a lot with a new home, and that means even a mobile home that you're going to put on an actual foundation. So it will be considered real property and not personal property. But you can also use it to repair and rehabilitate a home that's being purchased. So think along the lines of a fixer-upper. And that's essentially everything's going to be done before you move into the home. Okay, everything's going to be repaired. Everything is going to be done. And then you move in. It's not going to be buy the home and then you have to work up the money to do all these repairs along the way. It's all going to be done at once in the same loan program. And you can also do equipment to address a physical disability for someone who is handicapped, which is great. So now we're going to talk about VHDA and FHA Plus loans, and they're kind of related, but kind of different. So there's 2 programs that kind of separate out. The normal FHA loan is a 3.5% down payment. And these 2 programs kind of address that additional 3.5% that you would normally have to come up with the money to do your down payments. So FHA Plus loans, they treat that 3.5% as a second loan. So you'll have a first loan, a first mortgage, and a second mortgage, okay? And you can actually take a little bit more out. You can do a 5% to help with closing costs, depending on your credit score. So if you have a credit score between 620 and 679, you can only do 3.5%. But if you have 680 or above, you can do the extra up to the 5%. You do still have to have some cash. You have to have cash equal to 1% of the sales price. So that would be, on a $150,000 house, that'd be $1,500. You have to complete a homeownership education class, and there are loan limits and income limits. So the loan limit in Northern Virginia, places like Fairfax County, Loudoun County, all of those areas are $500,000. Some of these may be changing in the new year. As of right now, November 2016, these are the limits. In the Winchester area, it's $251,900, so basically half. Okay. Income limits are kind of essentially the same, kind of half and half. And it does go by number of people in your household. So you can see 121,900 for 2 people, and then it goes up for 3+ in Northern Virginia, and 73 to 84.6 here in the Winchester area. If you live in a different area, you can definitely ask me about these limits. So now the VHDA down payment grant treats that 3.5% as a grant. They don't do all of it. They do 2 to 2.5% of that purchase price. However, unlike the FHA Plus, where they treat it as a second loan that becomes a second mortgage, the VHDA down payment grant does not have to be repaid. So this could save you significantly a lot of money over the lifetime of your loan. So it's good to kind of look at both options to see if you can qualify for one versus the other. Now, FHA Plus is available to everyone. VHDA is only available to first-time home buyers. And VHDA is a Virginia program, so it's only available in Virginia. So if you're looking in Maryland and other places, we would have to discuss different options. So you do have to be a qualified first-time home buyer, and you cannot combine it. So you can't do an FHA Plus to do, the second loan option and then use the grant to pay for part of that second loan. You can't do that. So you will need to come up with either the 1%, 1.5%, or 1% difference between the grant and the 3.5% down payment. You do need a minimum 640 credit score, and your maximum debt to income ratio is 41%. And what that means is all of your debts that you own, and those would be like loans, like school loans, as well as the mortgage that you will have, any car loans you have out, anything like that. All of those can only add up to 41% of your income each month, all those payments. So there are, again, the loan limits. They are essentially the same as FHA Plus. Your income limits are a little bit different, so you can read those there. And then the other big thing is the mortgage credit certificate. And this is a program that gives you more tax deductions, essentially. So mortgage interest is tax deductible, but it's not a dollar for dollar situation. With the mortgage credit certificate, 20% of your mortgage interest is deductible dollar for dollar each year. You still get to do the additional on the 80%, but the 20% is dollar for dollar, so that can actually save you a lot of money on your taxes. So the third option are VA loans, and they are for veterans and current enlisted military personnel. They have to have served a specific amount of time in active duty, and there are different time requirements needed depending on when you served, going all the way back to basically forever. So if you have questions about that, I'm not going to go over that right now, but we will probably do a little webinar specifically for VA loans. So let's discuss them for a minute here. It is no down payment, 100% financing, which is great. The loan rates are typically lower than the other rates. You guys kind of get a benefit. The closing costs are typically a little bit more on VA loans, and you do have a funding fee that is added onto them that can be rolled into the loan. You can ask for closing cost help just like other loans, so that's a great option. The great thing is there's no mortgage insurance required, so that can save, I've seen $100 or more a month being saved on that, so that's great. You can use them for new construction or resale homes, which is awesome as well. And there are different programs. If you have specific disabilities and you need things changed in your home, there are special programs along those lines. Like I said, it's kind of a whole different class on its own, so we can go over that some other time. But if you have questions, please call me. Okay, guys, so we went over 3 options for 100% financing. And if you want to kind of continue down this road, you're interested in whether it's buying right now or 2 years down the road, it's always great to get started early, especially if you have some credit issues, if you have some debt that you need to pay off, if you're working on raising your credit score. Going through the motions right now are going to help you a lot in the long run. Loan officers that I work with, especially, they can run scenarios, and kind of tell you which debts you need to pay off first, if you need to get a credit card to kind of raise your credit score, or if you need to open up an account somewhere. They can tell you all of these things now so that you'll be ready when you need to be. So the first thing you want to do probably is figure out if buying is right for you. So if you are renting right now or you're staying with family or something, go and use our rent versus buy calculator at dreamweaversteam.com. It's really great. It's going to show you how much you will save and how much you will make from owning a home over the next, 30 years or whatever. And you can also register at our website to search homes. Not going to bug you if you tell us you're not ready for 2 years out. Just let us know that. But you can see everything coming on and kind of keep up with the market. And we'll send you homes that match what you're looking for, so that when you are ready, you already know. You can also contact me for a loan officer referral. No matter where you are, I can connect you with someone who is familiar with these programs, who can tell you everything and get you ready to get pre-approved. So email me with any questions. Even if you don't live in Virginia, I can connect you with someone in your area. Let's buy a home together. Thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll get together for our next webinar soon. Thanks.